listening to Table for Five with Felicia and Annette, only on LA Talk Radio.
Good Monday morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Happy Women's Month.
Yes.
History
Women
Day.
It was International Women's Day, and this March is Women's Month.
Yes.
Yes. But good morning, everyone. Welcome to Table for Five, where you, the listening audience, will always have a seat here, right here at our table. We don't have a big, huge table like we did last week.
No, last week we
But
had
it's okay.
We got to give a shout out to
What?
last week's.
Oh, yes. Big episode. We had lots of people here.
We did.
Yes, but welcome everyone. You will catch us here every Monday live, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time to 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You know, I like my Pacific time.
Yeah, your PST.
I love the West Coast. Sorry, everybody that's not on the West Coast or from it. Sorry, sucks to be you. Anyways, yes. We will be here every Monday. Come catch us. Today we have a great conversation.
Yes.
Hopefully you've been following us on Facebook. I'm having like some hair issues. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm like looking at myself and like, oh my God, I cut my bangs.
I should have never put that there for you.
Yeah, that's. I'm gonna try not to look at that because I'm like, that's gonna be, wow. Okay, I'm like, who is that person sitting there?
But first let's give a shout out to one of our sponsors.
Yes.
Yeah, all right. Let's do that right now before we continue.
Yes.
We want to let you know that today's show has been brought to you by My Financial Home Enterprises, a global financial consulting firm that's comprehensive accounting, tax, and financial management services. Dr. Cosette M. White coined the phrase financial physician, which gives a diagnosis and provides a cure to eliminate money leaks and income barriers to grow your business bottom line. If you want more information, you can reach her at myfinancialhome.com for more information.
Yes, always 3 W's.
I know. Last week I was doing WW. I was like, who does that?
Okay, it's one more time, www.myfinancialhome.com for more information. And all that information is going to be on our website too. But if you want to join in on our conversation today, the number to call in is area code 818-570-5085. Again, 818-570-5085 if you have any questions for our lovely guest.
Yes.
If you've been on our social media, then you should know who she is.
Yay.
You better know who she is. I'm like in a threatening mood today.
I know. Like I'm cold and hot at the same time.
Oh my gosh, she's going to kill me with this blanket that she has on.
It's not a blanket, it's a whole throw with holes in it.
Yes, it's beautiful. But she is like fidgeting with it.
I know now.
It's going to come off and we got it's a mess today. Welcome.
I know.
This is how we do it. I'm so sorry.
This is how we do.
Oh, and now she's singing. Okay. But yes, let's introduce our guest real quick. We have a beautiful, lovely in-studio guest that made me really nervous this morning. A special guest, Joanna Alba of Chief Visionary Joanna Alba. We're going to welcome you this morning. Oh, you don't have your headphones on. We gave you a little applause.
We just did an applause. Yes.
Yes, and so we're going to have a little bit of a hot topics. You're in the fashion industry. Jessica's, I mean, Joanna's in the, I don't know why I call it, because Alba is your last name, so I want to call you Jessica Alba. I'm sure you get that.
You know what's so crazy? She started following me yesterday.
Did she?
Did she really?
Wow, this is so great.
That is awesome.
I
Are you guys related, maybe?
I always say she's my cousin.
Oh, there you go. Maybe that's why she started following you.
Right?
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
That is very cool.
Yes,
Shout out to Jessica Alba.
That's Jessica. This is Joanna.
Yes.
That's
The
here
older
with us.
cousin.
Yeah.
No, girl, please. But before we get into your show, we want to talk a little bit about some hot topics.
Yes, I
want
want
anything that was going on. I didn't really have a crazy busy week or anything like that. Did you?
Yeah, we did a couple of fun things as a family. We attended our it was raining the whole time that we were out. Usually, rain makes you want to cuddle up at home. Our school performed the High School Musical did. The High School Musical, The Sound of Music. Oh my gosh, can I get that out? And I have to say, I don't like to say where Paul goes to school, but I am going to say today, Oaks Christian High School put up The Sound of Music. And it was the most amazing and well done and beautifully performed. These students are, I tweeted, I said, remember their names, because these kids are going.
They did the thing?
Oh my goodness. It was as if I was watching a Broadway show for real.
Oh, wow.
Their vocal ability was on point.
And that's Sound of Music?
That's
a lot of singing.
There are a lot of singing and a lot of songs. But I have to say, the kids, the nuns, one of the lead nuns, I was like, who is she? I was looking it up, and I was looking at her name, and I'm like, how old is she?
She's a student?
She's a student.
So
they were all students.
students.
There was a couple of inserts of adults, because some of the characters require more of a mature look. So there was like maybe I would say 4 or 5 adults on stage. Okay. But it was all the high school students, and if it goes till next week, I believe. If you can make your way to Oaks Christian High School, Sound of Music, it is amazing. I was so, because I go to all their musicals. Because I love musicals and I like to support the arts there.
Yes.
And so, one year they had a little band to play the musical. It was like a real theater experience where they had a band. Oh, nice. I was like, only Oaks does that. Well, no, I'm sure.
My daughter also goes to Oaks Christian, and she's in the dance class.
Oh,
so
my gosh.
They're rehearsing all this week for their show the following week. And
I have to go to that. I haven't done the dance. I've only done the musicals for middle school, and they're amazing.
Just as amazing.
So everybody go get your tickets.
Yes.
Support the school and their performing arts.
So I want to give a shout out to that. I want to give a shout out to a restaurant that I went to this weekend called the Factory Kitchen. If you are in the LA area, it's in the downtown district, the Arts District. Make a reservation though. Don't just show up. The Factory Kitchen. Don't just show up because you ain't gonna get a seat. We had a reservation and we had to wait about 20 minutes, which was fine. Went to the bar, had a drink, but the food, exceptional. The kitchen is right. You almost feel like you're eating in the kitchen. It's a very cool place in the Factory. But I want to say something. This week was the International Women's Day.
Yes.
And
I believe it was on Tuesday.
And I found something I know I didn't talk about it with you before, but something bothered me, and don't judge me.
Oh my.
But the CNN was interviewing different women, and they interviewed Caitlyn Jenner. Is it Caitlyn? Caitlyn?
Oh, yes.
Yes. Yeah, right, Caitlyn? And they interviewed her and asked her, how did it feel to be a woman? And I got so pissed. Because she said, well, I've only been at this for a little while. And I realized that women have had to deal with feeling less than. I feel less than. And I wanted to take my phone and throw it against the wall.
Okay, but why? Okay, let's explore that. Why?
First of all, if they wanted to talk to someone what do you call them? Transgendered. I think there are people who have walked that walk much longer than Caitlyn Jenner that could have spoken to the experience. Yes. So I think number one, that was what bothered me. I was like, because he's a celebrity, we went to him. Yeah. What's the...
And very new at the transgender thing, just because she's had her own show and she's written a book. It's a little bit of instant famous. I don't mean insta like Instagram. I mean instant, like instant coffee. Yeah. Famous. Sorry. That is, you're right. Like there are people that are in the transgender community that have gone for the plight.
Gentleman. What is the actress that was in The Orange is the New Black?
Yeah, I don't remember her name.
If anybody's watching Facebook,
she's been.
She was on the cover, of Time magazine.
Yeah. That would have been a much better.
She would have been a much more relevant person to ask and say,
agree with that.
"Hey, how has it been walking this walk as a woman?" Because she's done it for a minute. Yeah, Caitlyn Jenner, I didn't think was a valid.
Yeah, I
agree. Was annoyed. I was really.
I agree.
Right?
Yeah, I agree. I also don't know that I love, and I probably get some flack about this, that we're going to sit there and say that, you're a woman. And I know that people are going to say, well, what constitutes making a woman or being a woman. But I just feel like, yes, you can be a woman and you can change your birth certificate. And I don't have a problem with any of that. And I don't have a problem with you identifying as a woman. But don't ask someone how it feels to be a woman when they can't bring life into the world.
Yeah.
And even though there are women that also cannot bring life technically into the world, I feel like we need to still differentiate. Like, I don't have a problem.
Oh, we're gonna get some backlash.
I'm serious. I don't have a problem with you
Jesus,
identifying.
fix it.
I don't have a problem with you identifying. I am like the biggest, like, you know, cheerleader for transgender people, because I do believe that there are people trapped in the wrong body. I absolutely 100% believe that. But I think you have to be very careful, and I think there has to be a fine line that has to be drawn, and you have to respect. I think there just has to be a lot of respect going on all different places.
I know. So maybe that wasn't a good.
I'm not with the evangelical people either, that they're like, oh my God created that. No, I believe that God created everybody who they are. And if you come out saying, I feel like I'm this and I feel like I'm that, and you've said it since you were a little child, then
Laverne Cox, thank you, Facebook. Laverne Cox.
Right.
Yes, she would have been a much better choice to have that conversation, because I think she's lived in it a lot longer than Caitlyn Jenner. And then I thought his comment of us being weak, like, oh my gosh, I just thought his comment. Yes,
well,
I said
CNN,
his comment.
you need to do better.
I don't know if it was CNN or Time Magazine.
Okay.
I'm trying.
Well, whoever did the interview needs to do better.
I know. That was not,
But speaking of women, too, I did see an amazing movie on Friday, which is A Wrinkle in Time.
I heard.
I don't know if you guys have seen it yet.
No,
but
I'm not running to go.
What? You don't want to go? Why?
I don't know.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, she doesn't want to say. But anyways, I'll find that out later.
Yes. I'm all about that.
I thought it was great. I mean, I read the book a long time ago, and my kids just finished reading it, like literally one last year and the other one, like, I don't know, in the summertime. So they just loved it. They thought it was fantastic.
They liked it?
They did. And I love Oprah. I mean, I'm just so shocked that you're not like on this train with me.
I love Oprah, and Oprah
transcended
herself.
I love her very much.
I love her. I'm all things Oprah. You know I'm all things Oprah.
Listen, she came floating across that screen, and I was like, oh.
I'm not a fan of her acting.
Okay, but
there,
so
I said it.
Okay,
so that's why I'm not running to go see it.
But it's not. It wasn't, to me. It's not about the acting. I felt like it was more about the costumes, the story, the visual of it, because it's such a descriptive book.
Yes.
And I think
you were trying to figure out how they were going to translate that.
Yes.
Did they do a good job on that?
I thought that they did. I mean, I feel like when you read a book, you know, the vision that you have in your head is always maybe different than when they make it into a movie.
Sure.
But I thought that they did a really great job. My son said that there was one particular scene. He was like, "That's exactly how I imagined it."
Oh, nice.
And so I was very happy. I was very happy with the movie. I know it's not getting great reviews, but I don't really care because I like the story. I like Oprah, and
I love Oprah.
I thought everything looked really, really great.
I don't want her to be president, and I don't want her in a film.
Well, she didn't have to do a lot of like heavy acting, so it was more of like I think it suited her abilities well. Let's put it like that.
That's very diplomatic.
I know.
Wow.
Well
Listen, we're not trying to win Oscars. We're
appreciate
trying to
you.
go to the movies to be entertained. Okay.
Yeah, well, no, people
Okay.
want to win Oscars.
Well, I'm just saying I don't need to see every Oscar-winning performance. Okay.
Oh.
Sometimes I just need to be entertained.
Yeah. Oh, I get that. I get that. Okay.
So
well.
it was a great movie. I say check it out and make your own opinion.
Oh, I did see an excellent documentary on Netflix called "I Lie, The Lie." Oh, geez.
Oh, what is it called? I'm always about documentaries.
It's the story of Lance Armstrong and his trajectory. Oh my goodness!
About
It's
him doping?
Oh my God! It's 2 hours, but I'm just going to give you a quick setup. It's a documentary that started back before he had won. He had already won like 4 races. So this gentleman was actually traveling with him for a couple of years and was documenting his life as this incredible rider. So cyclist. So here he is. He has all this documentation, not knowing what was going to be at the end, like the whole time. So he's documenting his life, he's documenting his rights, he's documenting his blood work, he's documenting everything. And
He
then,
missed a couple things.
yes, you think? And so now, several years later, all this happens to him, right? So the documentary guy says, I want answers because I was with him for 2 years and he lied to me. He lied to me on camera.
Oh, wow. So he took it personally.
Yes,
so
he did.
This guy made the documentary?
Yes. So he added to the documentary. So that's why it's 2 hours because it's like the first hour is like him, you see him like just being very physical and training and all that stuff.
And almost someone that you look up to. in a
Yes,
sense, for
yes.
that long.
He was in, his voiceover says, I was cheering him on. I believed him. I mean, it's so powerful. And then it goes to where he goes on the Oprah Winfrey Show. She interviews him. He confesses to all his doping. And then after that, the gentleman who produced did the documentary said, I need to have a conversation with you and I need you to tell me the truth on the record because I was with you and you lied on camera. And the fascinating part about the documentary is his lying was so convincing.
Oh, yeah. Everybody
And
believed
I was
it.
like, we all believed him.
Yes.
We all believed that he was telling us the truth. And so it is fascinating to see how it turns. And
So did they have the conversation?
Yes.
Okay.
And the crazy part was, this is the only shout out I give to Lance Armstrong that he came clean on the conversation he had with the guy that was filming him. He told him everything. And the guy said he felt, how can you lie in my face? Like, I'm with you and you are lying. I mean, he's not in the bathroom with him. He's not,
Right. He's there with him, though,
but
like all
the
the time.
whole time, and he's filming him because he thinks he's filming the greatest cyclist that has ever lived, and then he realizes it was all a lie. It is the most fascinating. First, I was like, I don't want to watch 2 hours of this, and then I was like, oh my God, it was well done.
Okay.
So it keeps you very engaged.
Yeah.
But very. Shout out to Lance Armstrong for allowing this to come to light.
Yeah, so he didn't like protest it. He didn't sue the
No, he
guy.
participated in it.
Oh, he did?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
good for him.
Yeah.
Did you guys
Good for
watch
him.
the 2-hour episode of OJ last night?
I saw a little bit of it.
I couldn't take it.
I saw a little
No,
bit of
That's
it.
the man who needs to
Yeah.
tell the truth.
Yes.
But apparently it was like
A confession. Yes. You didn't see
Really?
it?
No, I didn't hear
because
about it. I didn't
everything
know it
he
was
said
on.
was in a hypothetical.
And then he was names like
Yeah.
Charlie. Like,
Who's Charlie?
Charlie?
Yeah, that's what I was like. Charlie was
Charlie
there?
come
And where was
from?
it? What network was this
Fox,
on? Oh, it was on
Fox TV, not Fox News. Fox TV.
Yeah.
Fox Network.
Yeah, Fox
So
Network.
it was
That
interesting, but it was cringing at the same time, so I kind of had to just turn it
yeah,
off.
I felt the same way. I was like, okay.
His facial expressions
you know
and
when
everything.
when I had to turn it away was when he was talking about how mad he was at her. Did you get to that part?
And he went to her grave and started yelling
Yes!
at her in the grave.
Oh, that's a little bit of anger
Yeah,
issues.
but they had a psychologist there on the panel also. It was just like analyzing everything, like, his actions, his words.
Yeah.
And it was just.
It was crazy.
Creepy.
That's
I
a
was like,
little
and
scary.
the thing is, you can't
Yeah.
charge him. Even if he did confess, you can't charge him. You can't charge
Yeah,
double
'cause it's
jeopardy.
over now.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can't. He's like, okay.
Oh, but he went to her grave and was yelling at her?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
It
All
was-
right, anger issues.
Yeah, that was a little crazy. I saw a little bit of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Documentary. Go watch it.
Yes.
Go watch the movie.
Yes.
That is
Wrinkle in
our
Time.
synopsis of the week. And since you are in the fashion industry, I did want to ask you really quickly about your opinion about the Oscars. Like, we had a whole 30-minute conversation last week.
Wow.
Yeah, we did.
It was
Yeah.
a little. It wasn't really geared around fashion, but it was. Did you have anything to add? Did you like it? Did you love it? I know that you had mentioned that you were at the NBA All-Star game a couple weekends ago.
Yes.
Well, going back to the Oscars, I thought it was amazing. The women empowerment movement that's happening right now. It's just so it's so motivating. As a single mom, and just how everybody's coming together and
Yes.
really just being there for each other, regardless if you've been in a situation or not.
Right.
Everybody's so supportive, and that
Yes.
movement is so amazing. And I have a daughter, so it's just people leading by example that
Absolutely.
really is touching to me.
Fantastic. Yes.
As far as the NBA draft, oh gosh, it was. I had 10 All-Stars.
Wow.
We
That you had to
delivered-
dress.
That we had to dress.
Okay.
In 4 days.
What?
We delivered 68 suits in 4 days. So they're getting wardrobes. So they want 2 outfits per day, because they're going to appearances and media, and they don't want to be seen in the same outfit. So they need a date, outfit, a night, outfit, and it's for 4 days.
Oh my gosh!
I
have a couple of questions about that
because families. And
that's
stuff, so it's pretty busy.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
Yeah. Well, let's get right into it and
Yes.
introduce you.
Yes.
Do you want to do it? The honors?
Yes. Okay. So you did mention our special guest is Joanna Alba, a chief visionaire. Joanna Alba is blazing trails and defining trends with her signature looks and fashion-forward designs. With over years of experience, 20 plus, her stellar client roster includes some of the most recognizable sports heroes and superstars on the planet. From Magic Johnson to Russell Westbrook, Joanna's custom suits and garments are worn by some of the most elite professionals in sports, business, and entertainment.
Yes.
And if you want to see and know more about her, you could go to www.alba-la.com.
Yes.
Alba-la.com. That'll also be on our website.
Not
Welcome to-
JessicaAlba.com.
No,
Yeah.
not Jessica. It's Alba.
Welcome, Joanna Alba, to our show. We got another applause.
Okay, before Facebook, thank you. Oh, my husband, of course. It was called the Armstrong Lie. That was the name of the documentary.
okay, let's write
The
that down.
Armstrong
I
Lie.
definitely wanna see
It's fascinating, riveting, incredible.
Armstrong Lie.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway, I just wanted I want you to tell us, how did you get into fashion and fashion for men, and was that a
Yes.
preference? Did you want to do men's fashion? Did you start with women's?
So at 6 years old, there was
Oh.
something that my mother and I always wanted to do as, mother-daughter thing.
Uh-huh.
And she would always sew. So we couldn't afford buying clothes. So we would go to the fabric store and she would make us clothes. So at 6, I was like, teach me how to sew.
Yeah.
So the funny thing is I would be sitting on the floor sewing by hand because our sewing machine was always broken and my mom was always trying to, fix it. But she taught me how to sew by hand while we're watching sports.
Oh
Like
my
this was everything we
gosh.
did
Oh,
on the
wow.
weekends, as a family, and her and I would be sewing. And, I grew up watching Marcus Allen play football and Magic Johnson and Tommy Lasorda, like all
Oh
the
my
different
gosh.
sports, baseball,
Yeah.
basketball, football.
Yeah.
Our family is very sports, like that
Into
driven.
sports.
Just in every sport.
Yeah.
So, I grew up watching them play, and now full circle, they're my clients.
It's
That's
incredible.
amazing.
That's
it's,
incredible.
Yes.
Everything
Yes.
just happens full circle.
So
and-
did you go to fashion school? Did you want? No.
I did not. So the funny thing is I always thought I was going to be a preschool teacher.
Oh my
So-
gosh. Oh, that's
so
so great.
In high school, I actually grew up out here in Granada Hills. Went to Granada Hills High School, but I
shout out to
knew
Granada
like
Hills.
Yes.
I would see all these kids pulling up to the front of the school, and they're like CRXs and Jeeps and everything. And
Yeah. You don't want to go to our
going
school.
to the front. Yeah, exactly. Now we're looking at that.
Yeah, exactly.
Now. But I was so ashamed and embarrassed. I would drive it park in the back. I had a Toyota Corolla. The speedometer didn't work. I could barely make it to school.
We did that to our son.
So, but my point is I said I want to work and I want to save enough money so when I have enough money to buy my own car.
Yes.
Then that's what I'm
That'd
going to
be
do.
nice,
So I
yeah.
ended up getting a job after school. And then, I just saved my own money. So I pulled up my 240SX to the front of the school.
Stop playing. In high school?
In high school.
See, that's
but-
a hustle.
Yes, that is a
But-
hustle. That's a hustler spirit right there,
Yes.
girl.
Well, I started blowing up balloons.
Closer to the mic.
I started
There she
blowing
is.
up balloons just for extra cash and everything. But then when I turned 15, I was able to do work experience
Oh, yeah?
from school. So I started working at a tuxedo shop, Gary's Tuxedo Shop.
Oh, okay.
And-
What drew you to that? Like, did you just were you just like, I'm looking for any kind of job?
Randomly, my sister's boyfriend at the time was the manager,
Oh,
so
okay.
I had a little in.
Okay.
But I just worked my way up and became the manager of Beverly Hills when I was
wow.
16 and a half.
What?
I was managing the highest volume tuxedo shop in
Oh, my God.
in the country.
Oh my
So
God.
then worked there for a while, and then at 19, I was doing Rodney Peete and Holly Robinson's wedding, and
Oh my
Magic Johnson's
gosh.
son EJ was the ring bearer, and I was introduced to Magic. And for like 6 months, they were recruiting me to go work for this custom clothing company that he was getting his suits from.
Okay.
And I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm managing. I'm making, I'd have my Honda Civic now with the Terra rims and tinted
You
windows.
were
Like,
so
Yes.
young.
You're
I
like,
can't
yeah.
believe- That's
Yeah.
the part that it's like amazing that you were so young.
Yeah, you're talking like 19 years old.
I was 19, and I was running, like, I was doing Four Seasons events with Elton John. I'm doing these major, celebrity weddings. And
But you're doing it through the tuxedo shop.
Right.
Because this is
Tuxedo
back
shop.
then, are the celebrities going to the tuxedo shops to get their
well, like,
stuff
for
done?
instance, Elton John, they would rent all the tuxedos for all the waiters and servers
okay.
and for his,
Right.
charity
Event.
event.
Okay.
And then for weddings, it's like the groom would get theirs custom made, but they would rent, for the
Right.
wedding party.
Okay.
So, yeah, I was doing, like, major celebrities.
And you're still going to
and-
school. Like you're
And I'm still going to school, and I'm still working Saturdays and Sundays. Sundays 12 to 5, and yeah. But then I also went to West Valley Community College to get my degree in child development.
because you're like, I'm gonna be a teacher.
preschool teacher.
Yeah.
This is all
I
just
was
nonsense,
really-
smoke and
that's-
mirrors.
Exactly. So
You're like, this is great, but yeah.
I started teaching 8:30 to 12:30, and then working at the tuxedo shop from 1 to 9,
Are you
and then working on
kidding?
Sundays, and I just
But that was after graduation, though.
that was after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're still with the dream with the preschool teacher.
Yeah,
But
and you know
then
what's
you're-
so crazy? It's yesterday I have 9 godkids.
Oh my
and
gosh.
I know.
Shout out to 9 children.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
One child, 9 godkids. But I took my godson with me to work on Saturday, and we're he loves sports, so I'm introducing him to all these athletes and whatnot from the Orlando Magic. He's like, wow, they're tall. They're like 7 feet tall. But the first client, he was really shy. Didn't say a word. The second client, he was like, said a couple things. And then we had a break, and I said, what's wrong? He goes, I'm nervous. He's 6. And I said, give me your hand. And I said, shake my hand.
Yeah.
And he goes like this, like just
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
barely
Little-
touches
yeah.
me. And I said, no, go all the way in, grab my hand,
Yes.
look me straight in the eye, and say, I'm Max and nice to meet you.
Oh.
So then he did that to the third client, and they had a conversation for like 10 minutes.
Oh,
like
fantastic.
the
Yeah, you build
confidence,
confidence.
and
Oh, my
everything. So I
gosh.
still think I have my teacher skills.
There you go,
Oh, the
girl.
preschool.
There you go.
Oh
It's come
my
full
gosh.
circle.
So
I know, it
you,
really does.
so when did you realize fashion is where I want to be? Like,
Yeah.
like how long did it take you to finally say, yeah, I'm going to jump in?
Yeah.
Well, when I was only making $8 an hour teaching,
Oh
and it
my
wasn't paying my
gosh.
bills, and I
Yeah.
have this car that I have to pay for, and I moved
Yeah.
out of my house when I was 16 and a half, and so I started working at the tuxedo shop full time.
Okay.
And I always said, well, I can always fall back and, after I'm done with the fashion thing, and then own my own daycare center.
Right. Right.
I
Right.
don't
Oh
know if
my
that's going to
God.
happen now.
Right.
I'm like,
So then you start working full time, and so did you start liking men's fashion?
I
Yeah.
did.
Okay.
I started falling in
And were
love
you
with
still
it.
sewing? That's what I was just going to ask you.
No.
Like, were you still sewing during all this?
Negative.
Like,
I do not have the patience anymore.
No.
Like, when you kind of have to do it,
Yeah.
it's like you do it and
Yeah.
the outcome is amazing.
Yeah.
But I love the design. I love designs. I love picking out fabrics. I like putting the whole combinations together. So that's what I'm good at.
So
Gotcha.
you transition to menswear, and you start to like it.
I love it.
So then did you start to, at that point, did you start to design for them? Did you give input? Did you give styling input?
It's so funny. When I first started, I would carry around this suitcase that probably weighed about 1,000 pounds of fabrics and a portfolio. And now I just have my little phone. It's like I've downsized. I'm like,
Yeah,
do like
listen.
this picture.
Yeah.
But because I've been doing it for so long, a lot of my clients say, you know what I have, just fill in the blanks. Make me
Gotcha.
something special.
Yeah.
Like
Oh.
for All Star, the 10 guys, I think I designed everything, and it was a surprise to them.
Wow.
Yeah, I just deliver it, and they're like, "Oh, this is great," so-
Okay,
Wow.
so now
Oh,
you.
wait.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, so my question is, and I want you to think about this because we're about to take a commercial break, is how do you transition from working at the shop and then designing? Like, did you then say, I need to go back to school to learn some more? Or was this just all like in the field, in the ground. And I'm going to let you think about that for a second because we're going to
Okay.
take a real quick break and give another shout out, another commercial break to our second sponsor of the day. This show today is also being brought to you by Inclusion Clubhouse, a not-for-profit organization that provides social and recreational activities for those with different special needs and their siblings, while offering support while offering support to the family as a whole. They exist to create a space that is truly all-inclusive and accessible for children, teens, and young adults of all abilities. Inclusion Clubhouse will help create a more inclusive community. You can visit them at www.inclusionclubhouse.org. Again, it's www.inclusionclubhouse.org, the nonprofit organization. They're also having a fundraiser March 18th, and you can get your tickets now for their annual celebrity charity karaoke that will be taking place Sunday, March 18th. That's actually this Sunday, right?
Mm-hmm.
This Sunday, March 18th at the Rio Lounge and Grill in Canoga Park from 5 p.m. until 8 p.m. Join us to raise awareness for cerebral palsy and enjoy some good food and unpredictable karaoke. You will never know who will be there. Lots of surprise celebrity guests, judges. It's going to be a great time. So go inclusionclubhouse.org to donate or to get your tickets. It's this weekend. Tickets are still available. And shout out to them. Thank you for being our sponsor for today.
Yeah, they were here last week. And we had
so click on that show and you can get some more information, or go to their website or our website and you can find out some more.
Yeah.
So back to the question, because we want to know, like, people want to know, like, you know, to me, I feel like the best success stories are the ones in careers are the best ones that people just kind of fall into, you know, that you didn't necessarily plan for or whatever. It was like your calling. It ends up being your calling that you didn't even know you were going to do. So you're in the tuxedo shop, and then how do you decide to jump out on your own? Do you jump out on your own? Do you like creep out on your own? Like, how does all that happen?
Well, I remember this so like as if it was yesterday, but so I'm 19 years old managing the Beverly Hills store. And 6 months, the custom clothing company was trying to recruit me to go over there. And I'm like, no, I'm good. But one day I woke up and I said, you know what? I'm 19. I don't have any kids. You know, I'm not married. So I just decided to do it. And the day that my last day at the tuxedo shop, the owner, who didn't speak to anybody, like he was like no one even knew he existed, came to wish me well and said, if you ever decide to come back, you're welcome.
Wow.
So I always had that in the back of my head. If it didn't work out, that I can come back. And
You got a safety net.
I did. But it ended up being amazing.
The best decision.
And Magic Johnson has been my mentor for decades. And still to this day, you know, it's his actions. It's not necessarily, you know, his words of encouragement. It's like, again, what I was saying, you know, he leads by example.
Yeah.
So
that's fantastic.
That's amazing.
So then it was like all she wrote at that point. So then you begin designing, then you begin fitting, you're working for them?
I am working for them.
Okay.
But then they wanted me to run the women's division. And here I come from, you know, working with men for a few years. And so then I started making clothes for Holly and Cookie and all the wives and, you know, mothers and girlfriends and whatnot. And I just wasn't a fan.
Oh, wow.
You know, it was more difficult.
Was it really?
It was very difficult, but I did start my,
fashion.
I just launched my women's
Yes,
collection
I was going
a
to
month
say,
ago.
how many years later? And now you're like,
Well, now I figured out like what I need to do. I
Right.
need to stay in my lane. I'm not going to compete with Michael Costello and make
Right,
all
right.
these extravagant dresses. I'm actually going to make suits.
Yeah.
Suits for women,
Fantastic.
and
Yeah.
I'm gonna. That's all I'm doing. I'm gonna do classic designs.
It's what you know
timeless.
and what you're best at.
Exactly.
That makes complete and total
Yeah.
sense.
Isn't that
Right.
great?
Yes,
I know, I'm excited.
amazing.
It's
Is that like breaking
exciting.
news?
I know.
I launched
Yeah.
at All Star Weekend
Yeah.
actually. So
Yeah.
we did a his and hers collection, and we have a fashion show in Austin at the end of the month. And
Oh,
so
good.
it's gonna be exciting.
I
Is
know.
that information on your website where people can go if they're in the Austin area and they want to come and check it out?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, and her
fantastic.
Instagram is great.
Yes.
She puts up a lot. Whoever does it. Does
What's
a
your
great job.
Instagram?
Alba Legacy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alba Legacy.
Look it up, guys.
Yeah.
Look it up.
Right.
Because you can see great pictures, and they they're good about keeping current what's going on and where they're going to be and stuff
Yeah.
like that. It's really good. Their pop-ups and stuff like that. It's
But
awesome.
speaking of legacy, today is my grandfather passed away today years ago. But 5 years ago, I woke up because I was I owned a previous company before this, and they had complete different partners, and we had completely different visions, and so we separated, and I took a break. And one day I woke up. It's just like one day I woke up, and I decided I'm going to start new and fresh.
Okay.
And it happened to be today, 5 years ago.
Isn't that crazy?
And I didn't even know it was the day that my grandfather had passed until my cousin called me and said, "Do you know this is the day Papa Alba passed away?" And I said, with everybody else saying, you know, what are you going to name your new company? Magic was saying, you have to build your enterprise. And then it was the day that my grandfather passed. So I was like, I have to leave his legacy.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's how I came up with Alba Legacy.
That's
Yeah, isn't that
fantastic.
amazing?
Yes,
Isn't that
amazing.
great? So
that just gave me
Alba,
chills.
the company Alba has been in existence for 5 years.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
In 5 years, you've done a lot.
I have. I have. And
I'm like, wait, what?
not alone.
Yeah.
Actually, my mother it runs my whole production and
Oh, wow.
in-house.
Shout out
and-
to mommy.
Yeah,
Oh
she's
yeah,
amazing.
she's so amazing. I couldn't do it without her and my team. I have such an amazing, solid team, and it's so hard to find these
Yeah.
days. But I definitely
So,
don't do it alone.
Explain how the because there I find that, well, you could correct me if I'm wrong. There's the Alba house that is bespoke, and then the Joanna Alba, the designer, right? And then there's the collaboration with designers, right? So it's kind of like
That's very
compartmentalized.
confusing. You're gonna have to explain because I am not in the fashion world at all, as you can tell by my outfits.
So explain what bespoke means, because everything
Yes.
you guys do is bespoke.
Correct. So I own a production house downtown LA. We have over 40 tailors that
Yeah.
work. It specializes in their different pieces like suits, jackets. Everything is custom made by hand.
Wow.
So when you come to our shop, you see everybody sewing and whatnot by hand. So that's our production house. And then Alba, the designer, I have a team of also designers that we travel around the world, and we cater to over 1,200 professional athletes, entertainers, and and businessmen.
Yeah.
But then I started a collaboration because of actually Annette's husband, Robert Mata. Am I allowed?
Yes, of course. He's been on here too many times.
Shout out to Robert Mata Design.
It's just insane how, again, everything is full circle, has been so full circle in my life. And everybody that's meant to be in my life is in my life right now. But one of the things I have to share, I share with everybody, is when my mentor said, you know, how many people do you have on your phone? This is when I was in the transition period, and I had 2,400 clients or people in my phone. He said, out of how many, like, who do you talk to out of 2,400 people? I said, I don't know. I don't count. He said, start deleting 10 people from your phone every day. And when you're done deleting, those are the people that are supposed to be in your life.
Oh, wow.
And the people that you deleted, if they decide to reach out to you, it's your decision if you want them in your life or not.
Oh, I like that.
Wow.
So that's like one thing.
I like that.
Yes.
Great advice, mentor.
Listen,
So-
some of y'all are going to be deleted.
But my point is, you know, everything happens and it full circle. I've worked with Robert 20 years ago
yes.
Yeah.
when he was working with Will, and
Yes.
we were working then, and you know, we didn't see each other for a few years, and then all of a sudden we're reunited and we're manufacturing and working with Robert Mata Designs.
Yes,
That's
yes.
fantastic.
And she does it all.
Yes.
All of it.
Yes.
They do an incredible job, and they do it quickly and efficiently.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So now I want to ask like a little bit of a personal question. So for those of you that can't tell, Joanna's not the tallest person.
Oh, yes. She's very
I had
petite.
to put on my highest heels on
I
today.
love, but I love. Well, I not only see this from the pictures that I saw.
Yeah.
But I love
She's
that
like,
you're
"Is she
petite.
really
Yes.
that short? I'm like, yes, she's
And so my
petite.
question is like you've already told us that you have basketball players as your clientele.
Yes.
And I'm thinking, okay, just logistically, how exactly does that work?
Wait,
because
she
you are
asked-
like here and they are like here. I want to know,
funny.
like, the main question
She
that's
asked me if you
burning.
had a la-
Yes. Do you travel with a ladder?
Okay.
And like, I'm like dead serious,
Yes.
like all seriousness, because listen, I travel with a ladder around my house just because I'm vertically challenged too. I'm a
That's
little bit, you're making me
funny.
feel real good because I'm a little taller than you. But I get it. And so I'm thinking to myself, that was the first thing that I
Yeah.
saw when I saw these pictures. How in the hell does she do
I
this?
have long arms.
Okay. Okay.
But it's so funny because it happens all the time. I was just with Aaron Gordon on Saturday, and he's 6'11", 6'10", 6'11", and I'm remeasuring him, and he's bending. I'm like, no, I got this. Like, it's so. I feel more awkward when I'm measuring somebody that's like 5'10" versus someone who's 6'10".
Really?
Okay.
Yeah, and my boyfriend's 6'5". So
Okay.
Yeah. So you don't use a ladder. You just
No.
figure. You just
Really?
can reach.
you can.
Really?
I have long arms. I'm telling you.
Oh my God.
That's like 2 feet taller
Like
than you, girl.
some of the guys will like sit down. I'm like, no, I got this. Like, no, it works.
So
Okay.
Your roster is pretty impressive. So was it word of mouth? Did one guy say, you know what, I got the great?
It's all word
Yeah.
of mouth. It's
Yeah.
still
Wow.
word of mouth. We still, don't really advertise or anything like that. But you get one player on a team, you do
Right.
a great job. They they introduce you to other teammates, and then those
Right.
guys get traded to another team, and
Right.
it's
And
like
they
a
look
domino
good too.
effect.
Like, to me, it's a testament that you dress these people, and we're showing some pictures
Yeah.
up on the screen now. I mean, you dress these people, and they look amazing. And
Yeah.
so then people are like, "Wow, you
So
look
who-
really
yeah,
good."
who
yeah, so
styled you,
that's
who
what
dr-
they ask. And
So
yeah.
do you collaborate with them? Like, do you say, okay, what do you like, what you don't like? Do you like color, not color? Because a lot of them wear like really outrageous.
Right.
Their wardrobe is kind of a
Some
statement.
of them are real.
At the same time, I always try to educate them because it is an investment.
Right.
I want them to get their basics, and then after that, 5 suits, your 5 colors, staple colors, black, gray, blue, and the neutrals. You can get like 25 to 30 different outfits out of those. Just
wow.
5 staple colors if you rotate and if you mix and match.
Yeah.
So I always try to educate them, and then we can do fun pieces when it's like your wedding or something special,
An
or
award
the ESPYs or awards or whatnot.
Yeah.
So
And so you start with basic, and then do they just let you like go bonkers? Because I've seen some of the stuff, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so crazy.
I can, I do my homework. So if it's a new client, I'll go through, I'll stalk them on Instagram and do all that stuff. And then I'll say, oh, he's kind of fun. So if it's a new client, I'll put together a lookbook of I'll start with the basics. Say, do you have this, that, or the other? And then I'll start throwing in some, fun things. And then it is a collaboration. We choose. At the end of the day, they're wearing it. They have to love it and whatnot. So
you are designer and a stylist. Do you work with the stuff that they already have, or style them and say, like, what do you want to look? How do you want to look, and help them? So you style and design?
Well, I design more than I do style. I will give them options. I personally am not, I don't like to style, because that means you have to go shopping in all these different,
Right.
places, and you have to return stuff if they don't like it.
Yeah.
Where I actually have everything in-house. So I've
Okay.
partnered with the shoe company. We go up to size 18. If they need shoes, we
fantastic.
have that available. We have our own jeans. The inseam is 38 inches. You
Wow.
can't get that anywhere.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay.
I just share what we have available for them, and I just work within that space.
That's
Oh my
fantastic.
gosh, isn't that great?
Yeah, no, I think that's amazing, because like you said, you can't find that,
Yeah.
at any other place. And you're right about the investment. People might be sitting here watching like, okay, well, that's good for Magic Johnson. That's good for everybody that can afford this. But what I want to say to the people is, even if you can't afford to contact Joanna on your own, which you probably can't, I'm sorry, but anyways.
Yes, you can.
You should either try and reach out and find out exactly how much it costs, because really you could start out with one good suit.
Right.
And I say this even when we were talking to Robert Mata about, Robert Mata Designs, about, what should be in your closet. I feel like every young man should start out with at least one good suit,
Yeah.
Right.
and and figure it out from there. And if you're an exceptionally tall person or a bigger guy, it's
worth the
very
investment.
hard. Yes, and it's worth the investment to
Yes.
get something that fits you really, really well, that you can continue wearing. Right.
Right. Well, we do Dress for Success seminars, and I did one with USC about a year and a half ago. That was frightening, because I'm not one to to speak in public, but I have 40 football players that are over 350 pounds staring at me. It was
Oh my
insane.
gosh. So it was for their team.
It was for the
Oh
football
my gosh, the
athletic
program.
department,
Oh
and
my gosh.
I teamed up with a foundation called Pursuits of Greatness.
Oh, nice.
I
Where
love
that foundation gives suits to all of the players that are either transitioning into the pros or going into the business world.
Right.
So it was a great experience, and then it's like, oh my God, I can do this, and at the end of the day, they're all trying to figure out how to tie ties, and we're teaching them how to do that, and it was really fun. So education is part of our whole process as well.
Yeah.
So now you're launching a women's line. So that also is bespoke.
It is.
And so how is that different than going and buying a suit? Like, how would that be different?
So what I'm doing is a collection. So you can have, your basic black sport coat, your favorite black pants that I can duplicate. We all have our favorite ones that we always wear. The skirt version, so we'll do pants, skirt, different style pants, and it's like a collection where you can mix and match.
I love that, yeah.
Yes.
So when you go to a department store, it's like you're limited to a lot of things.
Right, and the suit comes together.
Yeah.
Correct.
Like, and you can't buy it.
So you'd have to buy a skirt, and then you'd have to, or a
Yeah.
dress, like the little shell dress, like all that stuff.
Yeah.
There's just more options
Yeah.
when you do bespoke.
Yeah.
So
That is
fantastic.
amazing.
Yeah. So bespoke is going to be a different. Like, is there a different website for that or no?
no, it's just
all
our
under-
his and hers collection.
Okay.
Bespoke means it's just being custom made for you.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So just we can get that information though on your website.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Just
let's
tell
say someone
everybody out
calls. They don't know you, and they call and say, "I would like to have a suit made." Someone who is not a celebrity, is just a business
Yeah.
person, and
Yeah.
says, "I want to have a suit made." Where do you start? And do they go to your studio? How does that?
We always recommend people coming to our studio so they can see the process start to finish.
Yeah. Okay.
Also an educational process. Like
Yeah.
everything is done by hand. These are, if you go to a store and you can't pull apart the lining from the canvas and it's glued, that suit's not going to last very long. So when we show them the process and how everything is made, they kind of get a tour. So I always recommend for them to come in, that our fabrics are in stock. They can choose at that time. We can
Oh, I
sit
like
and
that.
just go through different, styles and fabrics. So I always recommend them coming to our showroom.
Now, how long does it take from start to finish? Like a new client, and they say, "Well, I need a business suit." Is the timeline
Yeah.
contingent?
Months, years.
Contingent on their
Oh,
timeline.
gosh.
Like, how does
It's
that?
always on their time.
Okay.
Doesn't your husband tell you how we have to turn around suits in 24 hours?
Yes.
Oh, she has.
Yes.
And we don't advertise it. But our normal turnaround time is 2 weeks, start to
Okay.
finish.
Okay. So that's good.
Yeah, well, our first fitting is usually within that week. And then if there's any alterations that need to be done, it gets delivered the following week.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 2 weeks is our normal turnaround time. You can tell your husband that.
2 weeks. 2 weeks, Robert.
But no, I've turned around suits in 24
Yeah.
hours. Lena
Yes.
Waithe for the Golden Globe few months ago. Something happened last minute. She came in on a Thursday morning. We had the suit made Friday for fitting. Did minor alterations, had it delivered to her house on Saturday for her to wear that Sunday.
So,
Wow.
so are your tailors on call? Like,
Pretty much.
I know. I mean,
Pretty
that's
much.
pretty intense
It is
to
pretty
have
intense.
something.
A lot of overtime,
Yeah.
but a lot of, because we own our own production house, we're able to kind of,
Maneuver,
he doesn't
yeah.
need his suit right now. We can put
Okay,
this,
focus on
yes,
that.
correct.
Oh my gosh.
Lots of deadlines.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
going to say
My least favorite.
Yeah, because it's
Yeah.
pretty intense. Now, so let's say you have she makes the suits for ballers. All of Dwayne's suits on the show are done by her production house. So when you have a show, you have clients. I mean, how big is your staff?
40 tailors, 6.
So do you break them up in sections? Like, you guys
yes.
focus on this, you guys focus on
Yeah.
that. You guys,
I don't
Yeah.
know. It just goes.
it just
happens.
oh my
happens.
gosh.
And then people have to make client stuff.
Yeah, because you
Yeah.
imagine there's something going on all the time.
Well, like right now we're in Phoenix in Florida for spring training, for baseball spring training. Well, they don't need their suits for another, 4 or 5
Okay.
weeks. So we're able to we accommodate, we figure it out.
Robert just said 2 weeks is an eternity. Whatever.
You can do it in 24 hours. It's fine.
You're special.
And
You're
anybody can
privileged.
for the right price. That's
Yeah,
another thing too.
exactly.
Like, listen, you can have a suit made in 24 hours too. You can too. I don't know how much that suit's going to cost, but it can be done.
Now,
It can be.
we asked this of Robert the last time he was on with us. For someone who can't afford a bespoke suit, because they're like, okay, I can't. That's a lot of money because you got to buy fabric. Blah blah blah. What are your top recommendations for men who are going to buy off the rack? What would you say to them and say, okay, you know what? you can't start from scratch, but if you're going to get a suit, be mindful of these things to make it look better.
Yeah.
Right. Well, honestly, there's options. Like you can really go to, you know what I do a lot actually for weddings? They'll rent the tuxedo from Men's Warehouse or Jose Bankstown. Nordstrom's has tux.
Rentals?
Right, rentals.
Oh, wow.
And but they'll purchase a custom-made shirt as a gift, you know, to the groomsmen. So it kind of feels like a
Personalized.
custom suit. So just like what we do, right? We have our nice purses, but I'll throw on some $30 pair of jeans. But
Right.
you have your, you know, it's about putting it all together, and you can get a custom shirt, but run a tux, and it looks fabulous.
Right.
So.
Oh, that's a
But
good
again,
idea.
for those, start with your basics and
Now, are you a fan of, say, like someone who is on a very limited budget going to, like, say, your local dry cleaner? Like, if you do have pieces that you end up dry cleaning, would you say, okay, look, just take the chance and get stuff measured to kind of fit you? Is that like also an easy, quick fix to make people look better? Or would you say no?
I would say no.
Okay, well, that's good advice, though,
Just
because
go
I think
invest.
I think a lot of people make that mistake, though. They think, okay, well, I can, buy these jeans or I can buy these pants. I think for women of us too, and I ask you that only because I've been burned. I'm not the tallest person either, so when I go buy stuff, it might fit me, but it's the wrong length
long.
or something like that. And so I ask you that because I think a lot of people think that's a great alternative, but it's really not.
What's
I think, like going to your local dry cleaner or
I would say I've had good.
I
I've
think
been
you roll
very-
the dice, and I think you take the
Yeah.
chance. And so my
Right.
point is that if you're going to spend that money, maybe spend a little bit more money and go and get something a little bit better
that
or
will last you longer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, yeah. My house, the joke in my house when I met my husband and I shipped my clothes, he threw everything away. He threw every last article.
we're
of
not
I did the
clothing.
same thing to my boyfriend.
You
by the
see,
way.
there you go. Through every right. So what was his point? Was that I lived in cheap clothes, and he's like, if you just buy several good articles of clothing, they'll last longer
Right.
than buying cheap clothes over and over and over and over again. Now
We're
he
not Forever
regrets.
21 anymore.
He regrets that now. Hello.
Uh-oh.
But yeah, that I see. But I would also say I've had occasion where something is either too long. I've bought this great jumpsuit and the hem was, and I've gone to the dry cleaners and they've hemmed it, and they've done some dry cleaners. But I've found in our neighborhood, and because Robert has gone in and spoken to the lady, we have a really good dry cleaner in our
Well, I
neighborhood.
think it's hit or miss. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. I mean, I'm not somebody that's in the industry that can go and talk to
if
them and
it's
advocate for
minor
them.
alterations, and it's
Right?
fine.
Right.
I would, yeah,
But
because
we're talking about altering, a nice pair of pants that
Yeah.
you've spent a little bit more money on. And so-
Alteration's not is expensive.
Yes.
Yes,
It
it's
can,
expensive.
yeah.
It's not cheap. And like I said, spend a little bit more money. Get something a little bit better.
Yeah.
That's what I want the people to have that mindset of, is that don't.
Alba Legacy.
Yeah.
Alba Legacy.
Yes, right. And you're saying that, don't be shy. Come in, find out
Absolutely.
how much it is. Would you say that you have a price point for different people, or?
No, it's all the same across the board.
Okay.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
she's
it
fair.
is. I am very
Yeah.
fair. Well, we do volume, you
Yeah.
know, and I do want to be affordable and
Yeah.
competitive and,
Right.
and whatnot. So
Well, that's what I'm saying. Do you feel like you are affordable and competitive? Because people are watching right now and they're like, well,
for
she makes
bespoke clothing,
Yeah.
yes. Because if you go to Tom Ford, it's easily $4,000
Yeah.
and up from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From basic.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. So what are the do's and don'ts for men? What do you think that men should never wear? And do you think, okay, here's a question I had for you. Do you think, and I know this is kind of tricky because my husband makes suits as well, but do you think women have a different aesthetic when they make suits for men?
Oh. Like, do you think a woman would make it look differently
Yeah,
on a man?
because
she's a woman?
Yeah, because listen, someone's launching their line in Nordstrom's, and it's a suit line, and it's a lady.
Well,
I
I
mean, don't
wanna-
we always know what looks good on our men?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Don't be mad, Robert.
Well,
Mara.
I know. I'm trying to be careful.
Well, no, but I would say too, like, people, like, have you come into this as a woman, and I know that we're like almost out of time, but I do want to get to this, talking about being a woman in this industry.
It's a male-dominant industry.
So number one, you're a male-dominant industry, and number two, you're a woman. So if a man comes to you, or a man says, "Oh my gosh, you got to get her to design your suit," what if a guy's like, "But how does she know what's gonna look good on a man?"
Right.
And I would love to debunk that argument by saying, "What is your answer? What is your feeling?"
Gosh, that's
on
a
that?
great question that I never really thought about. But I think the attention to detail. Sorry, Robert, I mean, you has the most attention to
don't
detail.
worry.
But I just think that we know, it's just like men's shoes. Do you know the story? Like if you look at their shoes, it's like kind of tells their story.
Yep.
Yes.
So it's attention to detail. It's like what we think will look good on them.
Right.
Yes.
And I just go from there.
And it doesn't matter whether you're a woman or you're a man. You, one, know design.
Yeah.
Two, know what looks good.
Right.
And so therefore it doesn't really make a difference. So people can't really have that argument, oh, she's a woman, how can she design
Right.
for a man?
I'm
Well,
a
men
designer.
design for
Right.
women.
Yeah.
Designer.
Men design for women all the time.
Yes,
but I
that's
feel
right.
like
That's
we don't
exactly
get that
right.
pointed out to us.
Right.
But when we're trying to do it, then that might be an issue or a point. So
Well, it
everybody
was
just needs
definitely
to
a
stop and sit
struggle.
down.
Yeah.
It was a struggle, again, 20 something years ago. And,
Yeah.
and being in a male dominant industry and the locker room talk and like, who is she? She thinks she can come on here and like measure everybody. And because, well, these
Really?
are my competitors that were male. And then here I come walking in with my measuring tape and, I feel like they were like intimidated.
Yeah,
in
sure.
a
Of
sense.
course.
Like,
So going back to my original question, what are the don'ts? Like you would tell a guy, don't do that.
Oh gosh! You know what? There's
so
no
much.
don'ts anymore. Have you
Re-
seen Russell
Oh,
Westbrook? I
my
mean,
God,
honestly,
yeah.
it's
I know.
everybody's
Yeah.
teach his own their style. So I've been dressing, working with Russell since his rookie year. Gosh, almost 9 years ago now.
Oh, wow.
But you see, people aren't afraid to try something new and be their own. Like I was that in 8th grade. I was the one that was like wearing just crazy things, and
Yeah.
I'm like, this is what I want to wear.
Yeah.
But it's confidence. It's your personal style,
Yeah.
and if
Okay,
you want to
good.
wear it,
So
wear
there's
it.
like there's no
There's
don'ts.
no rules. There's no
Well,
rules.
have
Go
it.
ahead and wear
Harper's
white
Bazaar
pants.
in the back, I
Like,
remember used to have the do's and don'ts, and they used to put the black line on the women who wore the crazy clothes. But I guess we can wear the crazy.
Well, I feel like, maybe, like you said, a nice pair of shoes. Like, don't come out and, like, busted stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, don't look busted. So we don't want the busted look.
Right.
But you can have a unique look.
Correct.
So if it's something that you feel looks good, don't be afraid to wear it. Have confidence. And I love that because it goes
Absolutely.
back to, your self-esteem. You should always love yourself and have confidence in
Yeah.
whatever it is that you do or you're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, not the last question,
Yeah, I
but
have
another
one more
question.
question.
Okay. Would you ever want to be retail?
No.
Really?
For suits, no. Maybe maybe like an accessory, like sunglasses or something like that. It's just it's
So you like-
difficult.
yeah,
I
you
like,
like
the
the personal,
personal.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
do. Like
like
I
that
said,
too.
Russell I've been working with for 10 years, and now I did his wedding, and now I get to see his son grow up. It's like that. If I were to
the
work
connection.
at Nordstrom's, and no offense, but it's like you can't build a relationship with the families and the parents and
Right.
and watch them from when they are inducted into the draft and then they
Yeah.
retire and then they
Wow.
so these are long-term relationships that you
Yes.
get to build,
So
and
this
that's
is your
what makes
passion.
my job
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah.
Yes,
Definitely
and
your
that
passion, yeah.
personalization.
For sure.
So my last question for you is: how have you seen the industry change in the time in the 2 decades that you've been? How I know that's like a
Minus
condense
the
it.
6-button suits that people used to
Oh my
wear,
gosh,
and
that's right.
the like 24
And I
inch
have to say, you
bottoms.
do more than suits. You've done jackets. You've done
We do.
joggers. I mean, you have like a whole collection
Whatever
in line.
you want,
Yeah. It's
to an
amazing.
extent,
Yeah.
we can make. But
Yeah.
styles have definitely changed. Like now, it's the tighter the better. You
Yeah.
know,
Right.
The narrow leg, I think, is like a big thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
very much so.
Yes.
So again, it's time. Everything. I just don't want the 6-button suits to come back.
Right.
We'll keep that over there.
But are you seeing? So like people always say in fashion, do you see things recycled? Like, do you see things coming back around? Styles coming back around?
Absolutely, always. And I'm a fan of vintage clothes. Like
Are
I
you?
just love everywhere I go, whatever city I'm in. I always try to find like a vintage shop. I'm inspired by that.
Oh, wow.
So I'm looking at men's, like clothes and things like that, where I get a lot of ideas from that. So yes.
Classic styles.
Yes.
Isn't that awesome?
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I love. Well, thank you so much for
Thank
being
you. This is
here.
fun.
I know, you
I've
see, it
been
was
wanting
very
to do this. I'm
easy.
like, why haven't I been invited?
I know,
Yes.
so we're going to have
You
John
can-
on the show. And it's
Yes.
a perfect month, too,
Yes.
to have you on.
Yes,
And,
as a women entrepreneur in
yes.
business,
In-
we
in
say
a men's
congratulations
world.
to you. Yes, in a truly man's world.
Truly man's world. She's kicking butt.
Yes,
Thank
yes.
you.
So everybody go visit your website.
Yes.
Don't be afraid. Get yourself a suit, a shirt, a something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love
Bomber
it.
jacket. You got some really cool bomber
Yes, we
jackets.
do.
I know my son Paul won one of those.
With the lightning
With
bolt.
the lightning bolt.
He
Yeah.
did.
He was like, wanted to go. I was like, get off her Instagram right now. But
I
anyway,
love it.
we want to thank you guys for watching, and we hope you've been informed, educated, and entertained. Catch us next Monday. We'll be here live with another great guest. We want you to have a great rest
Have a
of
great
the day.
week. Yes. Bye.
Bye.
You're listening to Table for Five with Felicia and Annette, only on LA Talk Radio.